Tea is supposed to be one of the healthiest beverages you can drink, right? Antioxidants, natural herbs, ancient traditions. But here's the shocking truth. Most tea brands sold in Australian supermarkets are absolute garbage. I'm talking about tea bags filled with dust and fannings instead of real tea leaves, products contaminated with pesticides and heavy metals, and brands that add artificial flavors and sweeteners while claiming to be natural. Some of these teas are so heavily processed and contaminated that you're better off drinking plain water. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which tea brands to avoid and why they're not what you think. Number 9. Lipton Yellow Label Tea. Let's start with one of the world's most popular tea brands. Lipton Yellow Label is everywhere, supermarkets, hotels, cafes. At $6 for 100 bags, it seems like great value. But here's what you're actually getting: the lowest quality tea dust and fannings swept up from factory floors. Real tea should be whole leaves, or at least broken leaves. Lipton uses the absolute dregs of tea production, the tiny particles and dust left over after quality tea is packaged. When tea is this finely ground, it releases tannins very quickly, creating that bitter, harsh taste Lipton is known for. But the real problem is contamination. Independent testing has found Lipton tea contains pesticide residues, including endosulfan and monocrotophos, both banned in many countries due to health risks. These pesticides are neurotoxins that accumulate in your body over time. The tea is also grown in heavily polluted areas of India and Kenya, where soil contamination is a major issue. You're drinking industrial tea contaminated with agricultural chemicals, and despite Lipton's claims about natural tea, they add natural flavoring to many varieties, which is code for artificial flavor compounds created in labs. At $6 for 100 bags, you're getting what you pay for contaminated tea dust in bleach paper bags. Number 8. Twinings English Breakfast. Twinings has this premium British heritage image that makes people trust the brand. At $7.50 for 50 bags, it's mid-range pricing. But Twinings English Breakfast is a blend of the cheapest teas they can source from multiple countries: Kenya, India, Sri Lanka, and China. When tea is blended from multiple origins, it's a red flag. It means they're buying whatever's cheapest at the time and mixing it together. The quality is completely inconsistent batch to batch. Independent testing found that Twinings contains concerning levels of fluoride. Tea plants naturally absorb fluoride from soil, but cheap tea made from old leaves has extremely high levels. One study found Twinings English Breakfast contained over 6 milligrams of fluoride per litre when brewed. That's 3 times the safe limit. Excessive fluoride causes skeletal fluorosis, thyroid problems, and neurological issues. The tea bags themselves are also problematic. Twinings uses plastic in their bags to seal them. When you pour boiling water over plastic, it leaches microplastics and chemicals into your tea. You're drinking plastic particles with every cup. The pyramid bags are even worse. They're made entirely from nylon or PET plastic. That's not a tea bag, that's a plastic sachet. At $7.50, you're paying for British marketing and contaminated tea in plastic bags. Number 7. Dilmah Premium Ceylon Tea. Dilmah markets itself as premium single-origin tea from Sri Lanka. The packaging is elegant, the brand has cachet, and at $9 for 50 bags, it's positioned as quality. But here's the reality: Dilmah uses tea from massive industrial plantations in Sri Lanka, where workers are exploited and pesticides are used heavily. Independent testing found Dilmah contains pesticide residues, including chlorpyrifos and quinalphos, both linked to neurological damage. The premium label is meaningless. They're using standard commercial-grade tea, not actually premium leaves. What makes Dilmah particularly problematic is the fluoride content. Sri Lankan tea is notorious for high fluoride levels, and Dilmah is no exception. Regular consumption can lead to fluoride toxicity, especially if you're also drinking fluoridated tap water and using fluoride toothpaste. The tea bags are also bleached with chlorine, which creates dioxins, carcinogenic compounds that leach into your tea. The bleaching gives the bags that pristine white appearance, but you're drinking chlorine byproducts. Dilmah has decent flavor because they use single-origin tea, but the contamination issues make it unacceptable. You're paying $9 for pesticide-contaminated tea in bleach bags. Number 6. Bushells Blue Label Tea. Bushells is an Australian icon. It's been around since 1883 and has strong brand loyalty, especially with older Australians. At $8 for 100 bags, it's budget-friendly. But Bushells is absolute rubbish. This is a blend of cheap teas from India, Kenya, and sometimes China, whatever's cheapest when they're sourcing. The quality is terrible. It's mostly tea dust and small fannings with virtually no whole leaf. The taste is harsh and astringent because the tiny particles release tannins too quickly. Independent testing found Bushells contains pesticide residues and concerningly high fluoride levels. What really bothers me about Bushells is they're trading on Australian nostalgia while delivering contaminated imported tea. People buy it thinking they're supporting an Aussie brand, but you're getting the cheapest possible tea from overseas. The bags are bleach paper that leaches chemicals into your tea, and because it's such low-quality tea dust, you need to brew it strong to get any flavour, which means you're concentrating the contaminants. My grandfather drank Bushells his entire life and refused to try anything else because of brand loyalty. That loyalty is being exploited to sell contaminated tea dust. Stop buying it. Number 5. Tetley tea. Tetley is another massive international brand that's everywhere in Australian supermarkets. At $7 for 100 bags, it's cheap. And like all cheap tea, it's garbage. Tetley sources from the cheapest suppliers across multiple countries. The blend changes constantly depending on commodity prices. You're getting inconsistent quality and unknown contamination levels. What makes Tetley particularly bad is their tea bags contain polypropylene plastic to seal them. This plastic releases microplastics when exposed to boiling water. A 2019 study found that a single plastic tea bag can release 11.6 billion microplastic particles and 3.1 billion nanoplastic particles into your cup. You're drinking more plastic than tea. These particles accumulate in your organs over time. Scientists are finding microplastics in human blood, lungs, and even placentas. Tetley also uses old tea leaves and stems in their blends, not quality leaf. The resulting tea is harsh, bitter, and lacks the complexity of real tea. And independent testing found pesticide residues in Tetley products. At $7 for 100 bags, the economics tell you everything. Real quality tea cannot be produced and sold for 7 cents per bag. You're drinking contaminated tea dust in plastic bags that's poisoning you slowly. Number 4. Nerada Organics. Now this one will surprise people because Nerada markets as organic Australian tea. The packaging shows the Australian rainforest, it's certified organic, and at $8.50 for 50 bags, you're paying premium prices. Surely organic Australian tea is good? Wrong. First, while the tea is grown in Queensland without synthetic pesticides, organic doesn't mean quality. The tea leaf quality in Nerada is mediocre. They use a lot of stems and older leaves because they're maximising yield from limited Australian production. The taste is bland and grassy without the complexity of quality tea. But here's the bigger issue. Queensland tea-growing regions have naturally high fluoride in the soil. Even organic tea grown there accumulates excessive fluoride. One study found Nerada organic tea contained over 5 milligrams of fluoride per litre when brewed. That's well above safe limits, especially for children and pregnant women. The tea bags also contain plastic fibres to seal them. Organic tea in plastic bags is contradictory. You're paying $8.50 for mediocre quality organic tea with high fluoride content in plastic bags. The organic label has tricked people into thinking this is healthy when it has serious contamination issues. And the environmental impact of growing tea in Queensland, a region not naturally suited for tea, is questionable. This is greenwashing at its finest. Number 3. T2 Fruity Tea Blends. T2 is a trendy Australian brand with beautiful stores and Instagram-worthy packaging. They're positioned as premium artisan tea for people who care about quality. At $15 for 100g, it's expensive, but their fruity tea blends are absolute garbage hidden behind pretty packaging. The fruit in these teas is mostly apple pieces, which are just dried apple waste from juice production. It's the cheapest possible filler. Then they add natural flavors, which are synthetic flavor compounds created in labs. The strawberries cream tea contains maybe 2% actual strawberry pieces. The rest is apple waste, chicory root, and artificial strawberry flavoring. You're paying $15 for industrial fruit waste with chemical flavoring. When you brew these teas, they smell strongly artificial. That overpowering strawberry smell isn't from fruit, it's from flavor chemicals. And because fruit pieces mold easily, these teas are often treated with sulfur dioxide or other preservatives to extend shelf life. You're drinking preservatives and artificial flavors in expensive packaging. T2's actual tea leaves varieties are acceptable quality, but their fruit and herbal blends are overpriced rubbish. The company has mastered Instagram marketing and pretty retail stores to sell you industrial tea waste at premium prices. Don't fall for the aesthetic look at the actual ingredients and quality. Number 2. Pukka Herbal Tea Range. Pukka has this wholesome, wellness-focused image with the beautiful illustrations and sustainability messaging. They're positioned as ethical, organic herbal tea for health-conscious consumers. At $9 for 20 bags, you're paying premium prices that's 45 cents per bag. But Pukka's herbal teas are problematic for several reasons. First, many varieties contain licorice root as a primary ingredient. Licorice root is cheap filler that adds sweetness, but consuming it regularly can cause serious health issues, high blood pressure, low potassium, irregular heartbeat, and muscle weakness. The safe limit for licorice consumption is very low, but Pukka uses it heavily in multiple blends. If you're drinking several cups daily, you're exceeding safe limits. Second, their detox and cleanse varieties contain senna leaf, a powerful laxative. Regular use of senna causes dependency and damages your colon. These aren't wellness teas, they're laxative products disguised as health drinks. Third, while Pukka claims organic ingredients, independent testing found some varieties contained pesticide residues, suggesting contamination during processing or packaging. And the tea bags contain plastic fibers. You're paying 45 cents per bag for organic herbs in plastic bags that contain laxatives and problematic ingredients. Pukka has mastered wellness marketing, but their products are potentially harmful when consumed regularly. Number 1. Celestial Seasonings Herbal Tea. Celestial Seasonings is hugely popular in Australia. The boxes are colourful, the flavour varieties are endless, and at $6 for 20 bags, it's affordable. But this American brand has serious contamination issues that should worry you. Independent testing in 2013 found that Celestial Seasonings teas contained extremely high levels of pesticides. Some varieties had over 20 different pesticide residues. The Sleepy Time tea contained chlorpropham, propichlor, and propagite pesticides banned in the US due to cancer risks. How did banned pesticides end up in tea? Because Celestial Seasonings sources from countries with minimal regulation and doesn't adequately test for contamination. The testing also found heavy metal contamination, lead and cadmium levels exceeding safe limits in several varieties. These heavy metals accumulate in your body over time, causing neurological damage, kidney failure, and cancer. Celestial Seasonings claimed they fixed the issues after the testing went public, but subsequent independent testing found pesticides still present. The company uses the cheapest possible herbs from China, India, and South America, where pesticide regulation is minimal, and many varieties contain natural flavoring artificial flavor compounds. The peppermint tea doesn't taste strongly of peppermint because there's not much actual peppermint. It's mostly natural peppermint flavor, which is a chemical. At $6 for 20 bags, you're getting contaminated herbs with artificial flavoring in bleached bags. Never buy Celestial Seasonings. Here's what you need to understand about the tea industry. It's built on exploitation and contamination. The tea you buy for $1.38 per box cannot be quality tea. Real quality tea costs real money to produce. When you're paying 10 cents per tea bag, you're getting industrial waste. Most supermarket tea has grown on massive plantations in developing countries where workers are exploited, pesticides are used heavily, and environmental regulations don't exist. The tea is harvested mechanically, processed in bulk facilities where contamination is common, then packaged months later after sitting in warehouses. By the time you buy it, it's stale, contaminated, and nutritionally worthless. So what should you buy instead? Here are the only tea brands worth your money. Number 1. Madura Organic Tea. Madura is actually Australian-grown tea from northern New South Wales. At $12 for 50g, it's expensive because growing tea in Australia is more costly than importing from Asia. But you're getting genuinely Australian certified organic tea. The quality is good whole leaves, fresh, and the flavour is smooth and pleasant. Because it's grown in Australia, you can visit the plantation and see how it's produced. That transparency is valuable. Madura tests for heavy metals and ensures fluoride levels are within safe limits, something they can control because they own the entire supply chain. The tea bags are biodegradable and plastic-free. This is how Australian tea should be done: local production, organic certification, quality control, and sustainable packaging. The flavour isn't as complex as premium Asian teas because Australian climate isn't ideal for tea growing, but it's honest, clean tea. If you want to support Australian agriculture and buy locally, Madura is worth the premium. Number 2. Prana Chai Original Masala Chai. If you want chai, Prana is the only acceptable Australian option. At $15 for 120g, it's expensive, but this is real chai made properly. The ingredient list is organic spices and organic tea, nothing artificial. Cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, cloves, black pepper, star anise, and black tea. When you open the bag, the spice smell is incredible. That's real spices, not artificial flavouring. You brew this on the stove with milk and a bit of sweetener, and it's spectacular. This is what chai is supposed to taste like: spicy, warming, complex. Not the sickly sweet artificial chai lattes from cafes. Prana sources organic spices from fair trade suppliers and uses quality organic tea. Everything is tested for contamination. The packaging is resealable to keep spices fresh. This is proper chai made by people who understand the tradition. Yes, it requires actual brewing. You can't just steep a bag in hot water. But if you want real chai, this is worth the effort and cost. Number 3. T2 Pure Leaf Tea Range. While I criticised T2's fruity blends earlier, their pure loose-leaf tea range is actually excellent. At $12.18 per 100g, depending on variety, you're paying for quality. Their Japanese Sencha, English Breakfast Loose Leaf, and Earl Grey Loose Leaf are genuinely good tea. These are whole leaves from single origins. When you open the tin, you see actual intact tea leaves, not dust. The Japanese Sencha is sourced from Japanese estates and has that clean, grassy flavour quality green tea should have. Their English Breakfast is a blend of Assam and Ceylon from specific estates. You can taste the difference compared to supermarket dust. T2 test their pure teas for pesticides and heavy metals. The loose leaf packaging is in sealed tins that preserve freshness. Yes, T2 is expensive and their stores are Instagram focused, but their actual pure tea leaves are quality products. Buy their loose leaf varieties, only avoid the fruity blends and flavoured teas which are overpriced waste. Stick to their pure black, green, white and oolong teas in loose leaf form. If this video shocked you and changed how you think about tea, smash that like button right now. Share this with every tea drinker. You know most Australians have no idea they're drinking contaminated tea dust. Subscribe to the channel because I'm exposing more food industry frauds that are poisoning Australians. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next video. And drop a comment below telling me which tea brand surprised you the most, or if you've been drinking any of these and didn't realise they were contaminated.